Well. Welcome back inside the bullpen. Eric Balnar, a very frazzled Eric Balnar, and Michael Dunn joining you.
A frazzled Michael Dunn, too.
Frazzled Michael Dunn. Big news just dropping literally a minute ago.
Massive news. I get back off the plane from Perth and
Everything
the world's ending.
You leave and everything goes crazy.
I know, it's crazy.
ABL, no bueno for this year is the big breaking news as of 1 minute ago. We've got GM Nathan Davison. You may have heard of him before.
Yes.
He's going to come join the show, talk about that. We got Tony Catt, President of Baseball South Australia.
Yep.
We got a lot of directional focus, I guess, on today's show, eh?
There's a lot of people in the know tonight on the show, which will be interesting to see what they've all got to say.
And we're not included in that.
Nah.
Definitely
we're just
not.
here making up the numbers tonight.
For sure. But welcome inside the bullpen, brought to you by Hilltop Office Supplies, a baseball show that brings you all the news, information, insights on baseball in South Australia. I guess it's that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We just try to cover everyone's needs across the state to that are not catching up with things on a weekly basis. So we fill them in and let them know exactly what's going on.
We've got Davo coming up in about 4 or 5 minutes' time. But before then, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what happened in the state leagues. Brought to you by Hilltop Office Supplies. You guys are everywhere right now. Powerhouse.
We like to be out and about.
We like to sponsor things.
Get the name out
Can
there.
You sponsor me?
Sure. What would you like to buy from us?
I don't know. The ABL?
Yeah, why? Let's go.
Let's go. No, let's start talking about the state leagues and the standings. They're starting to shape up a little bit. I know we're now 2 rounds in. At least there's some substance to it. It looks obviously pretty close. A lot of teams have wins on the board. But I guess what's kind of stood out to you in the Division I men's state league, at least?
Well, there's obviously 2 things. Kensington have won twice, which surprises me.
Not me.
Bit.
I have them top 4.
Yeah, you have. But Mosel's good for how long? That's my opinion of how long his arm stays on before it falls off. And Sturt yet to win. They were 0-2, which last year's finalists and 2 of the last 3 grand finals yet to win. So are their bats a little bit dried up at the moment? Do they not have enough pitching depth at the moment? It's interesting to see how it's all run out so far.
What is Austin Gallagher feeding his kids at Kensington? Because guys like Sean Maple has 4 hits in 2 games so far, and he's got 4 home runs.
Yeah, I guess as we've spoken about that, Gally hits in front of him. So no one wants to throw to Gally. They work around him. Maple comes up and just cleans the table. So that's what's happened so far.
A lot of kids on Kensington, though. Like a lot of guys that are all like under 21. Kosei Suzuki hit that home run in his first game against Henley and Grange. Like this is a team filled with lots of young talent.
And we were all kids once too. And the only thing you want to do when you're a kid is just play. You just love to play. You love to get out there and play and prove that you can do this at the highest level you're playing at, and then get the opportunity to come out and play Super League as well. So kids just love to play. They'd rather play than train. It's a different world now. You
can catch up with all the scores and results on baseballsa.com.au. Robert Laidlaw does a great job writing up the game recaps, but the big one there, you said Sturt, they lost their 2nd straight game. Is it panic station in Sturt?
No, I don't think so. They're a long way from being panic stations. But again, you only need to finish in that top 6 with the finals over 3 games. It completely changes the outlook of the way the baseball season finishes. So they're in no rush. They'll get better and better as the year goes along, and they'll still finish in the top 4. I have no doubt about that.
One we chatted about throughout the week, and we talked about him on the show. We broke down his video last week on the show with Scott Pratt. Was Tom Fitzgerald? He's gone over to Goodwood, and here's his numbers on screen. Like, and you add another inning of Super League in there with another 2 strikeouts, no hits, no walks in there. The total is 9 2/3 with 15 strikeouts, 5 hits, 1 walk only, and no earned runs. Like, huge improvement from last year.
Yeah, dominate, and that just proves the work you do over the off season with Josh Spence. It showed. That shows right there that his mechanics are starting to work. He's throwing the ball where he needs to throw it, and at club ball, he's just outstandingly just smashing it.
So if you're a team like Sturt that's kind of struggled a little bit, you said there's no panic station, but what do you do to try to get that spark? Because starting a season 0-3, no bueno as well.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure who they're playing this weekend, so that will be interesting to see who they come up
against. Doesn't matter who they play. They got to win.
No, true, but there is some teams are a lot stronger than others, right? So I don't think they'll have any issues. Their bats are a little bit slow. They probably haven't had a lot of preseason hitting. You don't face a lot of live pitching when you do preseason training at club ball level. You do a lot of pitching, so your pitching's probably a little bit tighter than your hitting at the moment. 4 or 5 games in, they'll start racking them up. There's no doubt.
Then on the women's side, there was only 2 games on the weekend. Sturt had a big win over East Torrance. Southern Districts, they were on the bye. The one that caught my eye, Woodville. They beat Glen Elk. Glen Elk don't lose many games.
No, they haven't lost many games in the last 2 or 3 seasons, have they? They've got a pretty strong lineup, and for Woodville to come out, who have got some emerging talent with Carly Moore and a few other players down there, have have done really well, and I'm sure they were just tickled pink to knock off last year's premier.
Yeah, Donovan, Carly Moore, big parts of that team. Got to give a shout out to downtown Molly Brown, who's just started working for the Giants as well. She's just joined up and started playing Division I baseball, and she's knocked off Glen Elg right away. How's that? Woodville up and about.
Can't ask for more than that.
Make sure you get all the recaps on BaseballSA's website, all the social media page. Robert Layla, again, shout out to him, does a great job. Look, everyone's probably going to want to talk about the Adelaide Giants, so we're going to bring in Nathan Davison in just a moment. But just a reminder, this show brought to you by Hilltop Office Supplies. Dunny, a company and an affiliation that you have a lot of affiliation with in Hilltop.
Yeah, so here you can see with Hilltop Office Supplies, we've just brought out our Christmas catalogue as well, so you can see that online. Go through the BSA website, and also it's on the Division 1 schedule as well, which will link you straight to our website as well for your Christmas catalogue. Go out and buy your Christmas stuff now.
Well, that will bring in the man everyone wants to talk to, Nathan Davison. What's going on? I think I'll move over here. We got to shift this up. We're looking a little awkward. I'm going to put my literal Giants cap on.
Is Michael filling up too much of the screen?
My shoulders are too big, Nathan.
Yeah, you are. You are. It's just that jacket.
A lot to put on there. Come on, Dunny.
There's a lot.
Davo.
Right, come on, tell us what's going on, mate. What is going on?
Yeah, what a way to make an entry, huh?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the news that any of us wanted to be relaying, but it's real now, and I guess the one thing out of it is we make a quick decision and move forward, see where we can go.
So we'll put the statement on screen in a second here, but full disclosure here, I work for the Giants. People see me around. You're the general manager of the Giants. You're the coach of the Giants. We all got this news yesterday around 4 or 5 p.m. when it was communicated to us. Let's just go down the table here. What was your first thought or reaction when that news came out?
From my point of view, it's just sad because we do this because we love it. And for it not to be here because of reasons we have no control over, it's quite upsetting. Months off where you're not going to be able to do it in the form that we know, it hurts.
And then, mine was disappointment, I have to admit, definitely initially, and then in light of the fact that we try to work on things that we can control, that's now out of our control, and then we're going to work on things that we can do moving forward. Now, this isn't a surprise to us that are, I guess, lucky enough to be inside the tent on most times that this could potentially have happened, and at least one of the contingencies we had to put in place was making sure that what else are we going to do, and now we straight away move into that phase. Now, my priority was on the players and the coaching staff, which were first to be advised, and then making sure that they were comfortable enough with it. Some of them absolutely weren't, and I can completely understand that, and we want to try and get around them and support them as much as we can, and try to get the product out there on the field again, which is what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, there's the statement that's just been on screen there, and basically saying that we're really disappointed, but we're going to try to do everything we can to have players put on that Giants jersey, hopefully in the field in front of us, in front of our fans. But yeah, my first thoughts was just disappointing, and it just sucks, to be honest. I mean, this is what I live for, the ABL seasons. This is what a lot of people do. The volunteers, the fans, the players, everyone. This is a significant part of a lot of people's lives. And it sucks whether you're a young player trying to break in the league or one of the veteran players that maybe doesn't have too many years left. It sucks that you can't play. So what were some of the reactions from some of the players that might have called or talked to you?
Yeah, pretty much all of those that you've suggested, from guys that are a little bit older and haven't had much of a chance to play the last couple of years and want to still be involved in the national program, to younger guys. I mean, Lockie Wells won't mind me saying that he was straight on the phone to say, look, we need some playing time. He's going to go back to pro ball. He's in his last year of his contract. He'll be a free agent after that. He needs to play here in this league, and we've seen the history of so many of those guys succeeding down here and it being noticed globally, so they get an opportunity to go back and perform in whatever level. And he saw his brother in the big leagues this year, and he wants to follow in those footsteps.
Totally. So I guess from our point of view now is the question we have for you, and obviously us as all part of the staff, is what is the contingency plan? Do we have something in place of what we want to try and do if we can't play ABL? What do we do for our players to get something out there?
Yeah, well, so we've got a lot of key partners that we want to work with and still service as well. But let's focus firstly on the playing side of things, and the amount of interest that we've built up over the last 4 or 5 years, 5 or 6 years potentially, are going to, once the borders open again, the international exposure, the Adelaide Giants, the Taiwanese influence, the interstate influence, the chance that we might be able to have and run some exhibition games, some international friendly games. Auckland could potentially be over here. We want to keep working on all of those options, and I think one of the showcase events that potentially will happen this year is the women's baseball, which we show that we can put on a fantastic event last year with the help of the Tourism Commission and BaseballSA, and would like to be able to do that again, and there's a couple of teams that want to play in that competition as well.
I think it's really hard to say what we can do when we don't know what we can do yet, and we're trying to figure that out. But I think what's pretty cool, and what I love about like even the Giants team we have, is we've got 2 people that just started with us in JT and Molly Brown, taking care of sponsors, members, all of that. Last night and then today for 2 hours, we spent the whole morning us sitting around a table talking about ways that we can get players to play, talking about ways that we can engage with fans, members, different events. We have all these different wacky ideas, and I'm sure more will come up there. Like, the priority is we're going to figure out to do something. I wouldn't bet against us. Let's put it that way. I mean, obviously stuff can happen, and who knows what happens in this COVID world, but I wouldn't bet against us, would you?
No, we won't. And we'll be out there. There'll be a Giants jersey running around somewhere here at some stage. And again, as I said, we've got plenty of people that want it to happen. We're all on the same train. We just got to figure out how to get it to happen and get out there.
Yep. No, I agree. Everyone, as you said, the showcase is important for some guys. It's their livelihood, and if they haven't got somewhere to showcase, what do they do?
What about Pellegro? What's your feel on that? I mean, obviously new owners for us and the Giants. Like, are you finding them being supportive and trying to get us on the field as a new owner walking into this, or are they a bit? What's the feel?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind betting the first time that they heard that there was a chance we weren't going to play, that was probably some trepidation. But to be honest, we've been a filter to that and a lot of that information. So they're still as positive as ever. And what other choice have you got? The ABL will move forward. Their party line has been that we want to set baseball up so that it progresses for the next 100 years beyond our generation.
Which has been cool dealing with them, you and I.
It really has, and they're going to be great support. It's going to turn into a real benefit for our team and our sport here in South Australia, and the talk of the facility remains, and the progress that we're trying to make to find a site and figure out how that all happens. That's still there. That bubbles along, and that takes up a lot of what we do every day in terms of trying to make sure that we get the right facility and maintain all of the relationships that we have internationally, so that when we do have a facility, it can be fully utilised.
Yep.
Okay, we can talk about that all day long, and I'm sure we'll be fielding calls all week about what's going on in the ABL. Check it out on social media, on the Giants website, club statements all there. What is disappointing is now that means that we might not get to see some guys like Curtis Mead, proud South Aussie, who's been absolutely crushing it overseas. This is a look at a shot that he had in the Arizona Fall League, basically a league with all the team's best prospects playing for a month-long competition, conglomerating on some teams. He goes opposite field. He hit another home run today, Curtis Mead. Have you had as much fun as me watching Curdy do his thing in the minor league season this year?
I mean, you can't see it, but I've got goosebumps just even watching that.
Totally.
And we watch it very closely, lucky enough to do that, but there aren't, and Tank says it all the time, there's no coincidences that young man is going where he's going, because when he was 16 years old and in year 11 at Emmanuel High School or college, and he was down here at 6 o'clock in the morning on his own with Tank and no one else is here, working harder than everybody, there's a reason he's getting better and going places, and that's fantastic to see, how good a fella he is, and a South Australian, a West Torrens boy, so it's nothing more exciting than seeing him excel and get to where he's going.
It'd be an interesting somewhere down the track, Eric. We need to get a photo of Curtis at 16 and Curtis at 21. And just to see the difference in his body shape and his size over 5 years has got him to where he's got to today. So, and that's what kids have got to aspire to.
It'd be curious to then compare that to someone like a Riley Yateman, who just got over in pro land, and then also Jack O'Loughlin, who worked hard. There's a few South Aussies actually doing their thing and are affiliated dudes. Have you been keeping in touch with most of them throughout the season?
We have. We've tried to get Jack to get some playing time and he had signed to play this year, and obviously things have changed. But it was great that Detroit were going to allow him to pitch this year, and obviously coming off the Tommy John surgery, only I think 40 or 50 innings this year, and did really well and excelled. And your time frame's really a good way to look at it, Dunny. Is it does take about 5 years, if not longer, to turn into a man. To go from having a child's body into an adult body that can compete internationally. And I mean, Curtis is hitting in a 3-hole in one of the best, strongest leagues in the
Prospects, also prospect base.
Either side of him, right? And he's right in the middle of that, so it's fantastic to see.
On the theme of changing bodies and bodies changing, let's chuck up a photo here from the good old days back in the Giants days. Can you walk me through? Let's go right to left on the screen. Who do we have here, especially the ones in the middle? Walk me through it, right to left on the photo.
So right to the left, Scott Pratt, who you guys would be reasonably
heard of him
with. Calvin Chipperfield, former professional pitcher with Detroit.
Yep.
Mark Tainty, current board member and very good player, took the best outfield catch I've ever seen. Mike's in the grand final for that because he was pretty good. The guy right behind him is called Mark Van Pelt, was one of the biggest sluggers going around at the time, another West Torrens.
He was, yes.
Boy, there's a big fella in the back with a big mullet that probably still remains, called Mark Hutton, who had big league time with the New York Yankees amongst
Couple of World Series rings.
other teams, Florida Marlins, Cincinnati Reds. There's a dude in the front with an orange sleeve. I don't even know.
Who is that guy? I'm half the person I used to be.
Who's the literally?
Hey?
Literally.
Literally. I think that can't be real.
The on-base percentage leader all time for the Giants.
See, I told you I could run.
There you go. The great man behind him, Watsy. He's there, and then I'm just hanging on to the last little remnants of.
Is that blonde?
You had hair, and you decided
What
to
is
dye it
going on
blonde.
there?
Why?
Just to keep fooling them for a couple more weeks, and it didn't last much longer than that. So at least I know when people say, "When did you go bald?" That was it. That was after that party. So after I saw this photo, I realised how ridiculous I looked, and then said, "It's got to come off." So in the background, T. Becker, one of our with the goatee, Andrew Scott, a Hall of Famer, and young dazzling Darren White on the left there,
and he's got a lot more hair than he's got now too, isn't he?
He's definitely thinning a little bit and holding on to it.
That group needs to get together again.
They are going to. Whitey, who took it upon himself to try and message everyone that still had a mobile phone out of that group. I'm not sure if Fanbelt does, but
true.
Everyone 100% replies for saying we must get together and recreate that time. So I'd imagine there'll be a couple of beers and a couple of stories told.
Absolutely, great times.
Davo, thanks for joining us. All the action, catch it on the Giants website. We'll be back after this with Tony Catt, president of Baseball South Australia. You're watching In the Bullpen, brought to you by Hilltop Office Supplies.
Looking for the finest in household items to complement and complete your dream look? Just the Thing Furniture Warehouse pride themselves on the best customer service, communication, and quality furniture.
We try and offer our customers is the opportunity to buy on-trend furniture at a discounted price.
Go see Super League Baseball sponsor Just the Thing Furniture for their wide range of quality furniture to find the perfect item that will complete your home and suit your budget. Mention Super League Baseball for free Metro delivery. Just the Thing Furniture, open 7 days a week.
Back inside the bullpen, Eric Balnar joined by, Michael Dunn. He's still here. We got to see that great photo a second ago. And Tony Catt joining us. But speaking of part of the furniture, big shout out to Just the Thing Furniture Warehouse. They're the sponsor of the Super League. But if you actually go and mention Super League Baseball to Just the Thing Furniture Warehouse, they can hook you up.
Yeah, they'll free deliver everything that you buy from them. So make sure that you do mention the Super League, and they will hook you up with free delivery in the metro area.
Tony.
Hello, mate.
Thanks for joining us. Good to see you around. A few different shifting roles for you over the last few years, and now you're the top dog, president, BSA. Let's go.
Yeah, no, looking forward to it. It's been a good start. The board, we've changed over a little bit with Michael coming on and Taints and Nathan coming back. Yeah, it's been exciting. It's just it's sometimes some fresh eyes, some fresh faces, different message. And we've got a lot of challenges, but there's a lot of exciting things going on as well. And the ABL announcement today that you would have heard from Nathan is a bit disappointing, but understandable, and probably gives us a bit of time to sit, reflect, and work out, make sure we're ready for next year. So
who's on the board right now for those watching that might not know, and what's the vibe going on?
Yeah, well, the vibe, I'll let maybe Michael answer that. But
yeah, both of you, you're both board members over here.
Yeah.
Davo was one too. I'm just the lone wolf out here.
No, so on the board we've still got Terry Evans, we've got Carla, Ron Harvey still there as I'll call it carryover from last year, but introducing Mark Tainty, Michael and Nathan coming in new has been really good. We've already had a couple of days off site, did a long strategy session, which was really exciting to talk about all the issues that we're facing, but also coming up with some really good solutions for where we want to take baseball over the next 5 years in this state.
That's an interesting one because look, I play social baseball effectively. I just go out there. I just want to show up at the primetime slot on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m., play some baseball, have a laugh, whatever it is. So I don't really think too much about the strategy behind it all. You mentioned a strategy session. What on earth happens at a strategy session and what's going on?
Yeah, no, it was good. It was. It's really just reinforcing the vision of where we think the baseball in South Australia probably needs to be in 3, 4, 5 years, and having some goals around that. And then out of that came, and the league will hear more about what we're going to do in these areas, but talking about culture of the clubs, culture of the league. We think it's really important in this day and age to set the tone and with good leadership, with good culture at club level, so that you can keep kids and parents and people participating in the game. I really reflect a little bit. Neil Craig, the football coach, one of the most things I remember the most about Neil Craig, he said as a Crows coach, he said, kids come to them motivated. Our only job is to not demotivate them. And I sort of feel that way a little bit about baseball. We're a great sport. We have some really good people, and people come to want to play this game at all levels, and they're motivated to want to play the game. Sometimes I think we make the mistake of demotivating them, and we've got to really work on that. We've got to make sure we're doing the right thing and keep them involved, and stop tripping ourselves up some days.
Yeah, no, so I guess from my point of view too, and I guess this is a question everyone probably is going to ask, is what does Tony Catt want to walk away from when he leaves the president's role down the track?
Yeah.
What
In 25 years from now.
What do you want to see that'll make you proud that you've done in Baseball South Australia?
Yeah, look, it's a good question. I think that, and as I said to you, Michael, at the board level, I have this sort of motto, leave it better than you found it. And it's no disrespect to anyone who's gone before us, is that they got the sport to different points, and our job now is to carry that forward even further. And I think the key things for me, and those that know me well, I'm really focused on the bottom end of the triangle, knowing where our junior development is at, knowing where our coach development is at, and probably controlling is not the right word, but maintaining some strategy over the under 11s, the under 9s, the under 13s that are coming in, so that we've got this consistency coming up rather than clubs going through waves. Making sure that our volunteer base, through good leadership, good culture, is second to none. I really want to leave the game thinking, you know what, the clubs are in a good spot and in a proud spot, knowing that their clubs are well run, well governed. And you can give them all a 10 out of 10 for their culture. And probably the last thing I'd really like to see in 4 or 5 years is that we take the bottleneck, which we do have a bottleneck from a facilities and club, grounds and point of view, where we can only have so many teams and so many time slots of people playing because we don't have lights at a lot of grounds. And I think that we really need to spend some time and energy talking about where our facilities are at. How do we grow the game and get more facilities so that people can play? So they're the three key things I would talk about.
So, Tony, I've known you now over the last 7 years here as, well, I guess first as an Adelaide Bite member, as a father for some kids that were going up the Little League charter system, as involved at the board level of BaseballSA and over at Sturt as well. So you've been kind of attacked it from all angles here, I suppose. What is it that motivates you to be so involved with baseball here? Because I think that's the cool stuff about this all.
Yeah, well, look, as those that will know me, but a lot don't know me, great-grandfather, grandfather. My grandfather's involved in the old night baseball days and Nord Oval. Then my father and my uncle played at Sturt Baseball Club, and our whole, we've got then me playing through Sturt with this gentleman here on my left.
That's generous.
And I saw that photo before, by the way. That wasn't generous. Yeah, no, and then going through and seeing, probably also a motivation for me now, seeing my own son Angus go through, a motivation, particularly my father and my grandfather. They went through a stage where they helped set up with the club at Sturt Baseball Club where it is. They made a difference. They helped. My grandfather was involved in the setting up of and setting the tone through night baseball at Nord Oval. They made a change and they made a difference to the game through their generations, and that inspires me. That's sort of what we're here for, and the game, as I think both of you agree, gives you back a lot more than probably we give it, and I don't think enough people reflect on that. And it's a massive league. It's a great tribe of people that are around this game, and you know what? Let's maintain it. Let's grow it. Let's get it better.
One of the words you said earlier was facilities. And that seems to be a complicated one. I know it's not easy, whether it be at West Beach or the stadium that Peligro say they want to get up here. What's I don't even know how to ask it, but I guess what's the thoughts on facilities, or talk to us a little bit about that?
It's hard. Look, I think lights is a key one, to be honest. There's only so many. There's so many grounds that.
That's at Clubland too.
Clubland, yeah. So I know Adelaide Baseball Club might be able to have lights, but there's certain grounds that can't. Like Glenelg, just around the corner here, can't because of the Adelaide Airport issues. Sturt Baseball Club will never have lights due to resident issues. There are certain clubs that can and can't. Southern Districts, on the other hand, can. So lights would make a massive difference to a lot of grounds, and it helps free up our programming. I think it would be exciting. It creates a level of excitement. Game time, yeah. And that will help fundraising and all sorts of things knock on from that. So, yeah, ground space is difficult. We all acknowledge that, but we've got to stay on the hunt for it, and we can't just turn, because what will happen is that it will. If we don't go and actively pursue it, it just won't happen. So we've got to put it on first on the agenda.
Yeah, and I guess from that, the point of view from that too is that some teams want more teams, but they have nowhere to play.
No.
So that's why they don't have more teams in the league, right?
Yeah, no. And you could grow it. I mean, it's been fantastic watching the growth of women's baseball, where we've gone from zero to a lot in a short amount of time. But a lot of clubs are playing off a postage stamp, or one ground, maybe two, and there's only so many time slots. And I know, for example, out at Golden Grove, they're growing enormously fast at the moment, and they've got nowhere to play. They'll run out of room. So we got to be careful of that.
Yep.
Okay, Tony, we got to let you go in a second here, but I guess before you go, what is that, I guess, one thing that you'd like the audience, the people, to know about this version of the BaseballSA board, about what we're trying to do here at BaseballSA?
It's a good question. I think culture is a key thing that people will get out of the messages coming out of the board. I've been, to be honest, and I don't mean to end on a sour note, but I've been disappointed in the first week and a half or 2 weeks with issues around people not treating umpires well. We've had people in our own office not being spoken to well. I'm going to be red hot on this stuff. The behaviour you walk past is the behaviour you accept. I'm just not going to walk past it, Eric, and we're going to call it out. We're going to do something about it, and we're going to clean it up. And I think clubs the presidents out there have got a clear message from me. I want to make this sport where a new parent walks in and goes, "This is fantastic. I want to be part of this club. I think it stands for something," and you'll hear that loud and clear.
Tony Catt, president of BaseballSA, joining us on In the Bullpen. You can't find too many people more passionate about the sport of baseball, especially in South Australia, than this guy over here. So, Tony, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, mate.
We'll be back and with some community moments just after this.
Citadel IT is a managed IT services company, which means we provide support, backups, monitoring of your computer systems, and essentially just help small businesses keep their IT moving. Just visit our website, which is citadelit.com.au.
Dunny, you know what I did yesterday after I found out the ABL news?
Cried in the corner?
I did, but you know which corner I cried in?
No.
The one at Oceanique.
Oh, there you go.
And you know what I did to help soften the blow?
Had some alcoholic beverage.
I did, but I also mentioned Super League Baseball, and they gave me 10% off.
There you go. Go down there as much as you can. They will look after you, Sam and Letitia. 10% off all your food and drinks. And sit and watch the sun go down. It's a fantastic place to be.
Tony Catt, great dude, great chat before. There's probably a list of things we could have gone through with Tony Catt. Very passionate guy. How's he been leading the board that you're sitting on so far?
No, he's been great. He's been very authoritative and straight down the line about what we're trying to achieve here. And
the behavior one was an interesting comment at the end.
Oh, and it's a big thing that the whole board is very interested in. The world's changing. The kids are changing. The parents are changing. It's different to when we were growing up. There's a lot of things that have changed over the years. So you have to roll with the times. You can't just bury your head in your sand anymore.
Well, Dunny, on that note, let's go celebrate, though, some people that are around in the baseball community right now. And let's start things off. This is some great shots. Andrew Kuzner played his 500th senior game alongside his son, Will, who was playing his first senior game. He shared the field in the infield with 4 boys in their first senior game as well. Andrew Kuzner, 500 games, sharing the field early on with all these young bucks coming up there. That's pretty cool.
And
How
Kuz
awesome
played
is that?
ABL as well. He played with the Giants in the old days as well. So Kuz has been around a long time, and 500 games at club ball level is fantastic for him, so we congratulate him.
We shouted him out on the broadcast last week, too, but it's worth another mention on the show. How about club legend Troy Cook over at Southern Districts Baseball Club? There's a shot right here. Troy's the older one. His son, Clayton, is the younger one. You'll have never guessed that. They played their first senior game together, and I love the quote that they just kind of sent in. Ain't nothing better than a father and son playing baseball together.
Yeah, mate, it's a great achievement, and it doesn't happen very often. It's a good thing that the old guys can still get out of bed on a Monday morning and get to the next weekend to have this time with their children like that. It's a fantastic result.
I mean, we're going to run through 5 today, and these have all been sent through to us at events@baseballsa.org.au. We've definitely missed some milestones out in the community, but we need to put it on you to help send them through, because we're going to get great stuff like this. Jackie Dunn. This is a big deal because it's 50 women's D1 games. Their women's league hasn't been along for that long. So it's great to see people like Jackie Dunn get in there. I know she joins people like Bianca Smith, who's been around at the club for a bit, but 50 D1 games for Jackie Dunn. That's a tremendous accomplishment. Unfortunately, upset loss in that game for Glenelg. But yeah,
and not one
Jackie
you want to
Dunn.
remember, is it? Your 50th getting beaten. But that's a fantastic, as you said, they don't play a lot of games a year, and to get up to 50 pretty quickly is great for her.
And a big shout out to the young buck, Liam McKinnon Matthews, over at Henley and Grange, 100 games for the Rams. The Rams do that junior program pretty well. We don't care if it's 800 games, 50 games, whatever. If you want to have a shout out on this show, send them through, because we deserve to recognize great young players just like that.
So Liam's played 100 games. He looks like he's 10.
He's played 100. How the hell has he played 100
Oh my
games?
God.
Big shout out as well over at Northern Districts. We don't have a photo of it, but I was told to mention the 600 game milestone of Duncan Sanders over at Woodville Baseball Club. He was a junior player at Norths. Mostly he's played in the A grade team for the last 30 years. Over this period, he's been one of the best and most consistent. His dad, Philip Sanders, is an honorary life member and a past prospect player. He's got 2 sons, brother, nephews that play for it. He's got a nickname, Smoothie. He's been awarded 4 batting titles, 3 MVPs, Club Player of the Year, 2 Gold Gloves, 3 Best Team Man Awards, and he's a life member at Northern Districts for Duncan Sanders, the legend. I wish we had a photo up there, but Duncan, well done, man.
Is that Smoothie for the baseball, or is that Smoothie because he likes the drink?
We'll have to. Maybe we should get him on the show.
Maybe
Let's
we'll have to
him.
ask him at some stage, or someone can tell us.
So
That'd
a big shout out to all those people. Again, events@baseballsa.org.au if you want to give a big shout out to anybody. And my favorite shout outs, our favorite segment, Volunteers of the Week. I love the volunteers. Volunteers do a great job with me at the Giants all over the place. This is a shot of Coda, Blake, and Zane from Seton High School, and this is the second year that these 3 have been assisting BaseballSA with the delivery of the Super League. That game's coming up, by the way. Last season, it started part of their work experience, but they said, yeah, you know what? No work experience doesn't even matter. Let's just do it anyways and help out the community. So they come straight from school on Wednesdays. They get down here. They get on the tools. They set up everything around here. So a big shout out to Coda, Blake, and Zane.
Yeah, they do a fantastic job, and as we've said along the whole time, clubs can't stay afloat without the volunteers at their club helping out on a day-to-day basis.
Remember to thank them, too. I mean, I think that's something that people sometimes forget a little bit, is people are doing this just because of passion. So
yep, it's in their blood.
You know what, Coda, Blake, Zane?
We salute you.
Thanks for all of your help. That's going to wrap up the show for this week. Next week, though, we got a big one.
Well, we've got a big name.
Heard of him.
A big name. There's a guy
big
that's
leaguer
coming on
even.
next week. He's coming on next week. The big man himself. So we're looking forward to that. So maybe
that's
you want to roll
Josh
through
Spence.
That. Josh Spence will be here next week.
No, you're a good golfer, and Chase Spence. I don't know if I can make that claim to, but have you seen Josh Spence hit a golf ball before?
He hits it a long way. He's got a very weird
He
stance
can
and
smoke
swing,
the
but
ball. He's getting so much better.
Well, he's got nothing else to do, right? He might as well play golf.
He's gonna be coming and challenging you pretty soon. So we'll be talking golf with Josh Spence next week.
There we go.
Now we're gonna be talking player development. Hopefully Riley Moore joins the show as well. Obviously that's a big part of your portfolio on the board. So we'll talk about what it takes to get better at being good at baseball.
And one of the things we'll ask him is, what's he done with Fitzy?
What has he done with Fitzy?
He's turned him into a machine. No, no, surely not. No, it's definitely not that. He eats too much pumpkin.
That's going to do it for us here in the Bullpen, brought to you by Hilltop Office Supplies. Don't forget, the catalog is out. Super League, brought to you by Just the Thing Furniture Warehouse. That's coming up next. On behalf of that guy, Michael Dunn,
That's
and all
me.
our guests on the show, we'll see you next week.
See you guys.